It's why I dressed up, AI. Could you tell when I came here and I had fancy pants on? It's why I dressed up.
I didn't notice that.
TV cameras, Fox News right here in studio. We've got our webmaster in studio. You know, you should have brushed your teeth today.
I did.
Didn't you know we had a dignitary coming in?
I didn't do it twice, though.
And normally on days like today, it's a double brush.
Double brush after the coffee.
Senator Al Franken, it's a real honor to have you in studio. Thanks for taking time here in the Red River Valley.
It's always a pleasure to be on your show, and now in studio, it's great.
You bet. Senator, you know, it's fun because when you come in, you never have these pre-existing, you know, here's what we have to talk about. It's just always a good, honest conversation with the people you serve. The first thing that comes to mind, you know, you a long time ago said that, you know, this strike couldn't be coming at a worse time when it comes to crystal sugar. We've got to go out there and defend, you know, a sugar program. We've got to make sure that we continue with the sugar industry, which is so important. You know, this is still going on. This is still
my
going
worry. I came up here not long after the lockout started, and I met with workers and talked, of course, to Dave Berg and management. Talked to growers, and the point I made, and I in the Grand Forks Herald, I wrote kind of an op-ed piece, was what's been great about the sugar program traditionally has been this sort of three-way alliance between ag, the growers, business, you know, American Crystal Sugar, and the workers and the union, and they have always been a team in terms of selling the sugar program. And people, I think, understand here in the Valley what the sugar program is, but it basically says we're going to limit the amount of sugar that's produced and imported to this country, and so there'll be a stable price on sugar. And that's the sugar program. It doesn't cost the taxpayers anything, but it, you know, the case can be made that it costs consumers because it limits.
Right. At the grocery store, you might pay more for sugar than what you would
or
in
in your Hershey bar or whatever.
Yeah.
So, right, and the point I made, I think this was back like August, middle of August, was that this could jeopardize the sugar program, and now Senator Lugar from Indiana, who had been, one time was chairman of the Ag Committee, has put something called a free sugar bill up. And they're, you know, a lot of the kind of Tea Party folks are, you know, their whole thing is free market. So even though this doesn't cost the taxpayers anything, they want to get rid of the sugar program. And I've seen support evaporate for programs. I saw it for the ethanol blender's fee.
Mm-hmm.
And
you've already seen gas prices go up for that.
Well,
no, they are. I mean, we're sitting here seeing it.
But I've seen the support just boom melt away, and because you can't depend, not many states produce sugar, right? So they
not many allies.
Yeah, and I could see this going away, and it can't. It would be very damaging for the valley, and so I you know, and because you've had ag, business, and labor, a unified front. You've had all those supporters come together and support the sugar program, and it's been very helpful to have labor come in to Washington and say, support this program. And this unified front doesn't exist anymore because of this lockout, and it worries me.
I had a conversation with a good friend of yours, Congressman Colin Peterson, recently, and he said, Joel, I'm just so frustrated. We just can't, you know, peel this onion back enough to get people to where we get this deal brokered. Where does fault lie? I mean, for the listener out there who doesn't have a horse in this race, they're not raising sugar beets, they don't work at Crystal Sugar. They obviously buy Crystal Sugar and are proud of the industry. How do you get this
benefit
resolved?
from the industry here.
Oh, absolutely.
Remember that.
Tax base too. But I mean, where does the fault lie, Senator?
You know, that is subjective. I mean, what the workers are saying is that there are parts in this contract that, unless I think you're part of this industry, unless you work there, unless you're part of the sugar making process there, that you really don't understand the importance of these guys bid on jobs, right? And depending on, and seniority matters, and the union matters. It isn't the end all. And the company gets to promote people, and it gets to say you aren't hacking it if you get a better job. But the more experience you have at the company, the more you get to bid on a job to get a better job. And that's part of the contract that I think the people who are outside the industry, like me, don't really understand. And I understand it somewhat. So then there's other stuff on health benefits. And I mean, on the one hand, I think people look at it, you can look at it two ways. One, the sugar business is doing incredibly well. So these growers are doing incredibly well, the company's doing incredibly well, the management of the company is doing incredibly well. That's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is that the median wage of American workers has been going down. Why should the workers at American Crystal Sugar get better health care benefits? Why should they get a raise? And so you kind of look at it from those two perspectives. You say, oh boy, this is hard. First, this isn't a strike, it's a lockout. We should remember that.
Well, I bring it up all the time. I mean, they've been locked out of the workplace. They were willing to work under the existing contract.
And when I worry about this, and I've been trying to, I can't do legislation to make them get together, right? But I've been trying to facilitate this.
But they're about to knock on your door big time for a new sugar program.
Right,
they're
which
about to,
I will support because I know it's the life and.
But let me ask you this: say I'm an ag supporter. Say I'm a senator from a state that raises cotton, peanuts, and I've worked with people like Senator Al Franken before on ag legislation. Okay, but I've got union workers in my area as well, and I've been walking this line of management. Okay, then all of a sudden I look at the media clippings up here, and I see a CEO that's making $2.5 million, named Man of the Year by the local paper, and I see growers who have got record profits. I'm sorry, Senator, but these guys have been locked out since Labor Day, and I'm going.
It makes it harder.
You bet it does.
It makes it harder.
And I get in trouble just for saying what I just said. If I say that, it's like I'm not sticking up for an industry and people that I call friends who are sugar beet growers. And all I'm doing is citing fact.
No, I am trying to. This is why I wrote in August that this might undermine the sugar program. I didn't do it to say, get them back to work or make a deal. Otherwise, I won't support the sugar program. I'm supporting the sugar program. I know it's good for this valley. But I'm saying that to the growers and to American Crystal Sugar, get this done. And get it done for a lot of other reasons, including the cost to your workers. These people have worked for you for 20, 30 years. And a workforce that, until this, has been incredibly supportive and loyal to you.
Yeah.
And they feel betrayed. They actually feel betrayed. Now, I was at a very emotional meeting yesterday in Grand Forks. Now, I plan to call Dave Berg. And
does he answer your calls?
He does usually. I mean, almost always very quickly. And I'm certain I'll hear from him today.
Okay. Let me ask you this, because this issue's been so. I'm just glad somebody's working on it, and I appreciate that, Senator. But let me, the results are in New Hampshire. I will make the argument to you and probably lose because you're one of the top debaters in the Senate. But I'm not sure that Mitt Romney versus Barack Obama is any difference in terms of massive change in this country. And it's clear that Mitt Romney.
You're saying that you don't think Mitt Romney is massive change.
I don't think that Mitt Romney and Barack Obama have differences of opinion on many things. I think that both of them have been very supportive of Wall Street. Both of them, Mitt Romney can say what he wants about the bailout now, but this is a guy that's very much a corporate raider, handed out a lot of pink slips.
Well, I think they represent two different sides of that because Dodd-Frank and I think there's recognition by the president that the reason we had this meltdown. Let's take the credit rating agencies, just that. And I've been fighting to end the. Right now, we have a model where those who issue the securities choose the rating agency that rates them. So it's called issuer pays. Well, I wrote a piece in Dodd-Frank to say you got to get rid of that conflict of interest, because that was a big part of the
You get the report card yourself.
Yeah, so you get these AAA ratings for these subprime mortgage-backed securities, and then once they ran out of subprime mortgage-backed securities, they started putting bets on them, derivatives. So then you had bets on bets and bets on bets and bets, and all these things were getting AAA ratings and didn't deserve it, but they were getting them because the credit rating agencies were paid by the issuers. So what I put in the legislation is basically, it's a study that at the end of the study that we shall end that by having a body, a self-regulatory organization under the SEC choose the rating agencies that do the initial rating. And that, well, there's really an oligopoly of the credit rating agencies of Moody's and S&P and Fitch. Those three do like 97% of the ratings, so we got to open that up.
I only have a couple more minutes here, though.
There's kind of an opposite. If you listen to Romney and you listen to Obama, there's a real opposite take on that.
I never got to the premise of my question, which would involve health care, though, as well.
Mm-hmm.
You have Mitt Romney saying his first action
Well,
is
you
to
never know
repeal-
what Mitt Romney really believes. That his first action will be to get rid of Obama, what he calls Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. First of all, he can't do that. So his first action will be
to lose.
His first action will, he promises to do something he can't unilaterally do as president. But, he says a lot of things that either don't reflect what he once believed, what he does believe, if he believes any.
Senator, the premise of my question is this, okay?
Yeah, sorry.
Say you're somebody who is camping out on Wall Street, okay?
Yeah.
And you're about change, whether it be on the corporate structure or whatever, on Wall Street. Or say you're somebody who has tied tea bags to your hat and walked around the countryside wanting a more conservative nation. Both of those sides, when they look at these two candidates, I don't see them getting the people they want. And so if people are looking for some massive change, whether it be to the right or to the left, I'm not convinced that the true conservative movement in this nation has
no. Look, the Occupy Wall Street people and the Tea Party people are not, if that's what you're saying, if it's an Obama Romney election.
Yeah, they don't even have a horse in the race.
Well, neither is going to, but
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying that all these people who have been clamoring for change, from Time Magazine to everybody who has talked about, the mood for this country has changed, change. They don't have a candidate in this race.
Let me say this though about Obama. He has tried to change things. That's what healthcare reform was about. And what you've seen is the Republican Congress, and especially in this last Congress, has done everything they can, even stuff they used to agree on. If Obama's for it, they're against it. So there's been paralysis in Congress, and it's the use of the filibuster, and it's now that the House is Republican, and you'll see, we try to make progress, Boehner signs off on something, and Cantor undercuts him. So we've had, that's why we have paralysis.
Senator, you've got a place you got to get to. I'm keeping to the time limit that I was given. I want to thank you. Thank you for giving access to KFGO, KFYR, and KCJB. Thanks for coming on with us.
You bet. Next time we'll schedule a lot longer.
Okay, give us more time. People would love to get a chance to visit with you.
Thanks, Joel.
Senator Al Franken from the state of Minnesota.